Niners fans, it's about that time. 5:30 p.m. on a Friday night. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Once again, it is a pleasure and an honor to be back on with the best fans in the NFL, the Faithful, the Niner Empire. How's everyone doing tonight on a Friday night? I hope all is well. Hey, we're getting ready to start our weekend. Hopefully everyone has and hopefully everyone has a great weekend. And also, this is the last weekend before free agency. Definitely looking forward to that. Right now, the 49ers are, I think, about $4 million under the salary cap. So technically, if the free agency started today, we would not be able to spend any money. But I'm sure a few transactions will happen in the next 72 to 96 hours. And I'm sure John Lynch will be making some moves to help this team get under the salary cap. So that way we can sign some players. That's for sure. Um, let's say what's up to the people in them comments. Feel free. I love to have people in the comments. I love to have people interact with me with this show and the topics that we're going to discuss today. Of course, we're going to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, of course. And why is Jimmy G still on the team? I don't know. I heard there was a rumor, and we'll definitely get into that. That a team may have offered the 49ers already a second round pick for Jimmy. I don't know what the holdup is. I'm not sure. But man, we're definitely going to get into that. We're going to talk about the latest 49ers news. The 49ers have made some coaching hires. The 49ers have signed some players. We're definitely going to talk about it all in today's show. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. Let's see. First off, in the chat, we have Niner Faithful. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Niner Faithful. Hopefully, you're having an excellent Friday night. Hopefully, all is well in your neck of the woods, man. But we got to get off into our first topic. Let's start off with some good news first. So the 49ers they re-signed some familiar faces. And all of these players that I'm going to talk about have been with the team at least since last year. We start off with linebacker Demetrius Flanagan Files. He was signed to a 1 year contract extension. And we know DFF, he's not a starter on this team, especially when Fred Warner, Aziz, and Dre Greenlaw are healthy. But DFF can be a special teams player. He did start 2 games last year when, Aziz was hurt. So I'm glad we re-signed DFF. He will contribute in the special teams area for sure. We also re-signed, and this was kind of surprising to me. I don't know about you guys, Faithful, but this was definitely surprising that we re-signed defensive tackle Maurice Hurst. I was surprised by this because Hurst, he only played 2 games last year. He was plagued last year with a calf injury, and I was surprised that we re-signed him. It seems the 49ers do have faith in Maurice Hurst, but let's be real, it's a 1 year deal. It's not big money, but this also this also leads me to think that we won't be able to re-sign DJ Jones, especially since we re-signed defensive tackle Kevin Givens, who was a very productive player in his time with the 49ers last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't re-sign DJ Jones, unfortunately. And that's something that I will talk about real shortly. We also re-signed running back Jamichael Hasty. And Hasty, he played in several games for us this year. But I think when Elijah Mitchell and, of course, when Deebo Samuel were carrying the rock, no other running back really got touches on this team. But it seems like the Niners like to use Jamichael Hasty on special teams, and they like to use Jamichael on third downs, especially I believe Jamichael had at least 23 to 25 catches. So they definitely like to throw the ball and utilize Jamichael's hands in this offense. So, hey, Jamichael Hasty is a familiar face. He knows the offense. And let's see what he can do, because we're definitely going to need depth at that running back position, because we know Shanahan's running backs get hurt, unfortunately, early and often in this offense. You're going to have at least 3 to 5 running backs at minimum. We also signed offensive lineman Colton McKivitz. He played one game last year. I believe that was the last game of the regular season versus the Rams because Trent Williams couldn't play, I believe. So I'm not surprised that we re-signed Colton McKivitz. He is a offensive lineman that knows the system. I don't expect him to start many games this year, but you need that depth in the offensive line. You're going to have at least, anywhere between 7 to 9 offensive linemen on the team. And Colton McKivitz, he provides depth for this offensive line in this team. Next, quarterback Nate Sudfeld. Man, the 49ers guaranteed Nate Sudfeld, I believe it was $2 million, and with a chance to earn an extra $1 million. So the 49ers clearly wanted to keep Nate Sudfeld in the fold. Nate Sudfeld knows the offense. He's well respected by his peers and the coaching staff. And clearly the 49ers wanted to keep Nate Sudfeld a part of this team. And Nate Sudfeld can help continue to mentor Trey Lance. So I think it's a win-win situation. It'll be interesting to see what other quarterback the 49ers bring in. As of course, I expect Jimmy G to be traded, in a matter of hours, and we're going to have to bring in another veteran quarterback. Let's get to these comments. I had to start off the show with some good news, of course, and I wanted to start off with the signings that this team has recently had. We got Joseph Mahoney in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Joseph, how is your Friday night going? I hope all is well. We also got David McNew in the building. What's good? David McNew says hashtag trade Jimmy G. I think we're all on the same page. I've seen some people in social media who are still hoping that Jimmy G stays with the 49ers, but I think that ship has set sailed. It's not a matter of if Jimmy G will be traded. It's just a matter of when. All signs are definitely pointing to it. Joseph Mahoney brings up a great point about Bobby Wagner. Wags, what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your opinion of linebacker Bobby Wagner. He played a decade with the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, he was a part of the Legion of Boom. A great linebacker. I'm not sure. I don't think he's in his prime anymore, but he can still contribute on the field. What are you guys' thoughts? I would love to hear what the faithful, the Niner Empire feel about Bobby Wagner, and would the 49ers fans be interested in kicking the tires on Bobby Wagner? Joseph said Bobby Wagner said he wants to play with Fred Warner. What is your thoughts, man? Great question. I think Bobby Wagner, I think he's still a pretty good player. I don't think that's the position of need for us. At linebacker, we already have Dre Greenlaw. We already have Aziz. We re-signed DFF. And I don't think we would need Bobby Wags. And I'm sure Bobby Wags is not going to take a discount to come play with the 49ers. I don't think so. I'm sure at the stage of his career, he wants to win championships, but he also, he's been a highly paid linebacker for the majority of his career. I should say at least the second half of his career. So I would be surprised if Wags takes a discount to join the 49ers. And it'll be interesting to see, because there are reports out there that the 49ers and our left guard Lincoln Tomlinson are far away in their contract negotiations. So if Lincoln Tomlinson walks, if DJ Jones walks, we would have salary cap available. I think it's cool to talk about Bobby Wags joining Fred Warner, but I don't really think it's realistic. I don't think that's the position of need right now for the 49ers. I think that's the only reason, and also salary cap. It depends on how much Wags wants. But what is the faithful thing? Let me type up this question in the banner. I would love to hear what the faithful think. Should we be interested in Bobby Wagner? And for those that don't know, Bobby Wagner was just released, I believe, in the last 48 hours from the Seattle Seahawks. And, of course, he was drafted by the Seahawks. He spent his entire career with the Seahawks, and now the Seahawks have let him go. So I would love to hear what the Niner Empire thinks about Bobby Wagner. And he's still a hell of a linebacker. Let me look up his stats really quick. Obviously this isn't the same. You look at Bobby Wagner, I don't know if you guys believe this, but he had 170 total tackles, 1 interception, 1 sack. The guy can clearly still play. He is 31 years old. If we did sign Wags, it wouldn't be on a long-term contract extension. It might be on a 1-year deal, but I don't think that's a position of need right now for the Niners. And the Niners have a shaky salary cap right now. I would say right now we're under the salary cap. We couldn't sign him even if we wanted to right now. So John Lynch, he needs to. I'm sure John Lynch is going to trade Jimmy G. He got it in the next, hopefully this weekend. Free agency starts on Wednesday, but it's nice to dream of Wags and Warner side by side. But I don't think we really need him. It's not really a position of need, and I think Bobby Wags could still command, double figures per year salary. He's still that guy. Seems like Niner Faithful likes Bobby Wagner to be wearing the red and gold. And I think Bobby Wagner, he sent out a tweet. He was saying that, he was drafted by the Seahawks. He played his entire career there, and they didn't even let him know that they were releasing him. So it's kind of, but that's the business of the NFL. Sometimes that's just how it is. You think you're friends with people in the front office or whatever, but as soon as they want to get rid of you and it benefits them to do that, they're going to do it. And that's exactly what they did with Bobby Wags. So we'll see. It would be nice to have him. I don't think it's a position of need. Niner Faithful says Willis and Bowman part 2-ish if we get Wagner. There's no doubt he would definitely improve this defense for sure. But I just don't see it happening. I don't see that happening. Joseph Mahoney, Jimmy G looks to the left, he looks to the right, and he throws a touchdown. Unfortunately, won't be able to say that anymore about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll have to say that with Trey Lance. I don't know if it has the right ring to it, but we'll see, though. We'll see. I appreciate everyone tuning into the stream. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to Jay and the Bay. And, of course, shout out to everyone watching Jay and the Bay, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Niner Faithful says, but the real question is, if we get him, who's giving up 54? Oh, it was Warner. Warner's keeping 54. There's no way Warner's going to give up 54 to Bobby Wags. That ain't going to happen. Bobby Wags is going to have to pick up he's going to have to get a different number, man. Let's see. Theodis Barber, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How is your Friday night going? He says, I love it, bro. 100. Absolutely. We have David V in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. David, how's your Friday night going, man? Hopefully all is well. Joseph says, I wonder if we offered him a 1-year, $8 million deal, if he would take it. I would imagine, and of course, I don't know Bobby Wags. I don't know what his what he values right now. Does he want to stay on the West Coast? Does he want to compete for a championship? Does he want to try to get the most money he can get? Because this is probably his last big contract. He's 31. I don't imagine a team signing Bobby Wag to a long-term contract extension. I just don't see that. He's 31. He did have a hell of a year last year, 170 total tackles. But I just don't see a team, maybe a 2-year deal, maybe. But I don't think the Niners would offer him that. I don't think the Niners, we got Dre Greenlaw, we got Aziz, we got DFF, and clearly Bobby Wags is much better, but I just don't see the Niners spending money in the linebacker room because that's not a position of need. I would say that's a position of strength right now. Would the team be better with Wags? Yeah, but I don't think Lynch is going to spend the money to get Wags. But interesting point. If we can't bring back DJ Jones and Lincoln Tomlinson, who are the 49ers going to re-sign? Of course, our current free agents. Well, I know we want to extend Debo, but that's already in the budget. That's what Lynch says. But I would imagine the 49ers would make a splash in free agency if we can't bring back, Lincoln or DJ, because those are the I think they would be the top money makers who are current free agents who played with the Niners last year. So, of course, besides Debo. But yeah, I would imagine if we can't bring those two back, where's all that extra money going to go? I don't think it's going to go to linebacker. I would hope it would go to corner, because if we could bring in another corner opposite of, Emmanuel Mosley or Ambry Thomas, I think that would be nice. But we know the 49ers don't value corners. They don't value the secondary. They value a defensive the D line much more than the secondary. Hey, David V. Chandler Jones. Now that would be I think I would rather take Chandler Jones over Bobby Wagner, because I think if we pair him up with Nick Bosa, I think that would be ideal. And I know we have Samsung, but I think only 1.5 million of his contract is guaranteed. If we sever ties with Samsung, we would actually save 6.5 million in cap space. So I would be down with that. You cut Samsung, you bring in Chandler Jones. I think Chandler Jones, he had a pretty decent year. I know he had a great. I'm not sure what he did as far as he had 10.5 sacks last year. So that was the first year he had double-digit sacks since 2019. So it looked like he dealt with some injuries in 2020. But he did have a double-digit sack season last year. He is 32. How much money are the Niners going to be willing to pay for the services of Chandler Jones? We'll see. I mean, he's not. There's not going to be any players taking discounts of that caliber to come to the Niners. I just don't see it. But what are the Niners going to spend in free agency? They got to spend it somewhere. Bringing in Chandler Jones would be dope. That's for sure. Matt Navarro, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Matt, hopefully all is well for you on a Friday night. I would love to hear the Faithful's thoughts on Chandler Jones. What are you guys' thoughts on Chandler Jones? Should the 49ers kick the tires on Chandler Jones? I would love to hear the Faithful's thoughts on that. But let's see. I think Niner Faithful says, Jay, what was your reaction to Russell Wilson getting traded? I was so happy I started celebrating in the middle of class. Man, I was elated, just as you were, Niner Faithful. Russell Wilson, ever since he was drafted, he's had our number. He's had our number. There hasn't been much resistance versus Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. In 21 games, the Seahawks have played the Niners since Russell Wilson was a starting quarterback. The Seahawks have won 17 out of those 21 games. So we know there were some lean years after Harbaugh. Well, let's backtrack. When it was Harbaugh here versus Pete Carroll, there was a great intense rivalry. Great games, countless games. But when Harbaugh was fired, we had Tom Sula, we had Chip Kelly, and even Shanahan's early years, weren't really successful versus the Seahawks. So, Russell Wilson, hell of a player, Hall of Fame talent, but I'm definitely glad that he's gone. Man, I respect his game, respect who he is, hell of a player, but I will not miss playing him two games a year. That's for sure. And it's weird that we've only played the Seahawks once in the playoffs when Russell Wilson was that starting quarterback, and the Seahawks won that game. But, I don't think the division necessarily gets easier, because you still got Arizona, you still got the Rams, and the Seahawks are going to rebuild. The Seahawks, they could be interested in Deshawn Watson. I mean, who knows? Wouldn't that be crazy? You trade Russell and then you trade for Deshawn Watson. That would be crazy if that happened. But I don't think the division necessarily got easier, but at least we don't have to worry about number 3 under center for the Seahawks anymore. And that was the best news of the week for me. Russell Wilson getting traded out of the division. The next best news will be when Jimmy G gets traded. That's for sure. Let's see. Joseph says he was released Wednesday, same day as Rush trade. Okay, and you're talking about Bobby Wagner. Yeah, correct. We got Roberto in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Roberto. He says, "What's good, Jay? How's your night going? Has all my faithful doing? We're doing pretty good, man. Talking about the Niners. Hopefully you're doing well, Roberto. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Should the 49ers be interested in Chandler Jones? I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave your thoughts in them comments. Let's see. We got the Jonathan Lemon brand in the building. JLB, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, JLB. Man, keep doing your thing on the YouTube channel, man. I see you. He says y'all better sign Bobby Wags. I mean, if we were playing Madden, oh yeah, let's go ahead and sign him. You know, the salary cap isn't a big deal in Madden. Let's go ahead and sign him. But this is real life, and the Niners, we don't really have a need at the linebacker position, I don't think. And it would be different if Wags would take, you know, I wouldn't disrespect him and say a veteran minimum deal, but something a little bit less than market value, because Bobby Wagner, he could probably, the man had 170 combined tackles last year for the Seahawks, so he can definitely still tackle. He can still run. Is he in the prime of his career? No, but he could still garner, you know, maybe 8 to 10 mil per year on a 1 or maybe 2 year deal with the team. I don't know if the Niners would do that. I don't know. I would be surprised if they do that, because linebacker is not really a position of need. If we get a linebacker, it would probably be in the draft, or maybe just a journeyman linebacker who would be on the practice squad, or maybe even special teams. I just don't see the Niners needing to add talent to that linebacker room. I just don't see it. But it would be nice if it happened, but I don't think it's realistic. Joseph says, here's a question I've been asking all my friends. Would you trade George Kittle for Quentin Nelson? Wow. That is a great question. There's no doubt Quentin Nelson, he is, you know, probably the best guard in the NFL. Man, I mean, that would be awfully tempting, I would have to say, especially since I think Quentin Nelson is much younger than Kittle, and I think Kittle is nearing 30 years old. How old is Kittle? Let's see. And there's no way the Colts would do that trade. But Kittle's 28. Quentin Nelson, let's see. Quentin Nelson is 25, so there's no doubt, you know, that would be a great trade for the 49ers, but I don't think the Colts would do that. No way. I mean, he's a generational type guard. The Colts are not going to give up. We would have to probably give up draft picks and things like that. But yeah, no way. Looks like David says no, Joe, on trading George Kittle for Quentin Nelson. He says that's a no. So we got to talk about, we already talked about the re-signings that the 49ers did. Got to talk about the latest news. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, but the 49ers are reportedly not close on a deal to retain guard Laken Tomlinson. Now, the 49ers acquired Laken Tomlinson in 2017 in John Lynch's first year with the team. I believe we traded a day 3 pick for Laken Tomlinson. Tomlinson has been an Iron Man. And he started 80 of 81 games with the franchise, and we would love to have Laken back. But, man, Laken is hitting the market at the right time. Why do you say that, Jay? Because the Bengals need help on the offensive line. They have a lot of space in their salary cap. The Chargers need help on their offensive line, and the Miami Dolphins. And, you know, Mike McDaniels is with the Miami Dolphins now. Obviously, there's a connection there. But that would be disappointing if the 49ers cannot retain guard Laken Tomlinson. But we know John Lynch and the 49ers have a number that, you know, they're not going to go above in negotiations with Laken Tomlinson. That's with any player. I would be surprised if the Niners pay Laken more than $10 million per year. But it seems he can get that on the open market. And I just mentioned 3 teams who could use Laken Tomlinson. And so I would say, I guess, get ready for Aaron Banks at left guard. And hopefully he could start there because he's a 2nd round draft pick. But that's disappointing news about guard Laken Tomlinson. And if he walks, but there's no doubt I would never tell a player to take less just to stay with the team. I mean, this is Laken's probably biggest contract that he'll get in his career. This is generational wealth. He's earned every penny. I just hope he stays with the Niners. But it could be. It's looking like that the two sides won't be able to come to an agreement. And also heard that there's a possibility that DJ Jones and KY Williams will test the free agent market. I wouldn't be too sad if K'Wan Williams leaves. He didn't play his best season last year. I don't know if he's getting better at this point of his career. He's on the, I believe he's on the wrong age of 30. Let me double check that. But I think K'Wan is, let's see, K'Wan Williams. I think he's getting up there. Yeah, K'Wan Williams is 30 years old. You know, once you hit that 30, hey, you're not necessarily getting better, especially at the cornerback position. So, um, that's unfortunate, but it's unfortunate and exciting to see who the 49ers bring in. If we can't bring back Lincoln, at least we drafted offensive lineman in the draft who could take over Lincoln's spot. DJ Jones, we know Javon Kinlaw had the offseason knee surgery. We know Javon Kinlaw is coming back, and hopefully he can have an impactful season and stay healthy. But if those two players are not re-signed by the Niners, we still have some cap space, of course, after we trade Jimmy G. Who will this team go after? Will we sign a big-time corner like J.C. Jackson? And I think that was one of my I think that was one of the comments. Yeah. Theodis Barber says, how about J.C. Jackson? He'd be great to bring on. But JC could probably get anywhere between 12 to 15 million per year. And I don't think the Niners are going to make that type of investment on a cornerback. I just don't see it happening. Lynch don't value the secondary. They value defensive line. So I think Chandler Jones, even though I think that's a stretch, maybe he's a more of a realistic option. Niner Faithful says Joey Bosa got Khalil Mack. Let's get Nick Chandler. Yeah, Chandler Jones. Yeah, I mean Bosa and Mack. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Who do you double on that squad on the LA Chargers? So that's going to be interesting. They're definitely going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, we got Samson We got Samson. I mean, if we cut him, we would save about $6.5 million. I think we probably should cut Samson, but we'll see if the Niners do that. I think he's solid, but if we cut him, there's only a $1.5 million cap hit, so we would save about $5 million on the cap. Then we could move those funds to maybe get a Chandler Jones or another edge rusher on the market. But we'll see. Maybe this team is satisfied with Samson's production. And while we're speaking on his production, let's see Samson's stats, because I thought Samson was solid. I thought he's decent, but he wasn't. I don't know if he was necessarily a playmaker. And I know this was his first year being an edge rusher, because I know when he was with the Rams, they didn't really ask him to do that. But for the season, Samson had 4.5 sacks, 21 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble. And that's decent, but I feel like you could get that out of a Arden Key, and he's making significantly less than Samson. So we'll see. That's an interesting decision the 49ers have, because we could definitely save some salary cap space if we let go of Samson. Niner Faithful says, but we didn't escape Rush yet. We have to play the Broncos in Denver this season, but hopefully we don't see him for a few years after that. Well, hopefully we do see him in the Super Bowl. Hey, I'm not backing down from that challenge. If we get a chance to play Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl, hey, I'm down with that. But you're absolutely right. We do play the AFC West this year in the regular season, so I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup. That's for sure. But we've got to talk about some good news. Let's bring up some good news. I know we talked about Lincoln and DJ Jones not possibly not rejoining the team because they're able to get bigger deals on the open market. But let's talk about Raheem Mostert. We know he played basically one game last year, and Raheem Mostert was had the knee surgery, and his doctor left his doctor has some great news about Raheem Mostert. And Raheem Mostert, his doctor basically said, Raheem Mostert, he suffered the knee cartilage injury last season. He underwent tests this week in Dallas with Dr. Dan Cooper. Mr. Cooper said The running back is making a full recovery and will be ready to play this season. And Dr. Cooper did say that in 6 years of doing this procedure on NFL players, this is the best recovery he's seen, and there's no reason to believe Raheem won't be fully healthy and ready to go. So that is great news on the Raheem Mostert front. I don't know how the rest of the faithful feel, but I would definitely welcome back Raheem Mostert, especially on a 1-year deal. We're not going to pay him a lot of money. We know that, faithful. It's going to be maybe $2 or $3 billion. We're not going to expect Raheem to carry the load on the offense. You got Mitchell, you got Raheem. We mix in Debo a little bit in the run game, even though I would like to spare Debo from running the ball, consistently throughout the entire season. Maybe if we save that for the playoffs, maybe. But we'll see. But it's great news about Raheem Mostert. Hopefully, we can bring him back. I know he'll probably receive some interest from the Miami Dolphins because Mike McDaniel is familiar with Raheem Mostert, and Mike McDaniel would be able to. He knows Raheem, and Raheem Mostert would fit Mike McDaniel's scheme with the Miami Dolphins. So hopefully we'll see. Hopefully we can get Raheem Mostert back in the fold with the 49ers, and hopefully he'll have a successful season. But it's great news that Raheem Mostert is doing well in his rehab. Let's see what the faithful feel in them comments. Let's see. Matt Navarro says, I would only acquire Bobby Wagner if his jersey number is available. Well, seems like we're not going to be acquiring him then. We will not be acquiring Bobby Wags. He's still a hell of a player, but I just don't, I'm not sure. It's just not it's not a priority. The linebacker position is just not a priority for this team right now. And I just think our money in free agency should be allocated toward, hey, maybe a hot shot corner or maybe getting another edge rusher. We have John in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream, John. He says, I would not trade Quentin for Kiddo. Our run game would suffer, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think the Colts would make that trade. I mean, the Niners, obviously, Kiddo, he's the heart and soul of this team. But, man, that would be awfully tempting from a 49er fan standpoint, for me at least, because Quentin is only 25 years old. I think we would definitely get more out of Quentin than Kiddo at this point. But, it wouldn't happen. Indianapolis would not make that trade. No way. 49ers first takes. What's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream. He says, investing in the linebacker core when so many other areas have needs is foolhardy. Yeah, I agree. It's just not. It's nice to play like in Madden or whatever. You sign them to your team, but it's just not a position of need. And Bobby Wags, he's not going to take a discount to join the 49ers. I just don't see it. He had a pretty good season last year, 170 combined tackles. The man can still tackle. He can still read the offensive line. He can still move sideline to sideline. So he will be valuable on the free agent market. I can see him getting maybe like a 2-year deal, maybe getting upwards of $8 to $10 million per year in salary. So I don't think the Niners would invest that in the linebacking core, especially since we already broke the bank for Fred Warner. So and well deserved. Joseph says, if we traded for Quentin Nelson, we would have Trent and Nelson with Mac. How would we struggle? I mean, that would be, that would be nice. That would be a nice upgrade from Lincoln Tomlinson, right? I would agree with that, but I don't think there's no way the Colts would trade Quentin Nelson. No way. we got to give him a chance, Matt. Matt Navarro says Aaron Banks. Nah, I'm good. I mean, hey, I think that's who I'm expecting to start. If Lincoln Tomlinson, if we can't re-sign Lincoln, I don't see who else there is. Aaron Banks was a second-round draft pick. He's got to play, right? He's got to play, faithful. Aaron Banks has to play. I think he will be plugged in. I think they're kind of hoping that he would take over that position or at least the right guard spot, but he couldn't do that last year with Brunskill. And hopefully we bring back Brunskill. I just don't want him to be my starter. Brunskill can play every position along the offensive line. I think he can definitely be used in this system, but hey, Aaron Banks, a second-round pick. He's got to start. I just don't see any other way around it unless there's another player who's just significantly better than him. I think the 49ers are going to give Banks every opportunity to start if we can't re-sign Lincoln. If we can re-sign Lincoln, hopefully we can plug Banks in at that right guard spot, but we'll see. He's got a whole offseason to improve, Banks, that is. I mean, I know he had a disappointing season. He got hurt toward the end of training camp. And he just didn't he rarely saw the field. I think he saw the field on 5 offensive snaps. He played some special teams, but a second round draft pick for offensive lineman, I mean, your expectations are, at least from the fan base, is that you're going to start. But maybe the team, had other plans for him. Joseph says, how are you hating on Aaron Banks, Matthew? I don't understand it. Yeah, I mean, it's, Banks has a lot to prove. Is Banks a bust? I would not say that. Yeah, his book is not finished yet. He's still in the first chapter. He just got a lot of work to do. Hopefully he's working hard in the off season, and because we're going to need him to contribute. We're going to need all our draft picks. If you look at our draft class, obviously we got the most out of Elijah Mitchell, Talanoa Hufanga. Ambry Thomas came on late. And other players will have to step up. I'm expecting huge things from Aaron Banks, from Trey Sermon, of course, from Trey Lance. But I think potentially this entire draft class should produce a lot more than they did this year. Hopefully we see more from Trey Sermon in this offense with Trey Lance. Aaron Banks, he's got to start. We know Trey Lance is going to start. I don't think Hufanga will start, but I think he will contribute. Being a third safety on this team and playing special teams. Jalen Moore, he could be an option. I know he played a little bit of tackle when Michael McGlinchey went out, but I don't anticipate Moore will start, especially if McGlinchey is healthy and he's back to his normal self. So, but we'll see, man. Banks has to prove himself that he can play at this level, and hopefully Banks proves that this year. First Take says DJ Reed hinted at time heals all wounds. A possible return. We shall see what comes to fruition. First Takes. I don't see it happening, especially if Reed can get more than $10 million on the open market. If he can get that, I don't think the Niners are going to pay for that. I just don't see it happening. I really do feel like this team is content with the secondary they have. Maybe we draft a corner. But I just don't see any big splashes coming from this team in free agency this year. I hope I'm wrong, especially if we can't re-sign Lincoln, we can't re-sign DJ Jones. There's still money that we'll have, especially after we trade Jimmy G. Who is this team is going to go after? If I had to guess, it would be edge rusher. Maybe we spend a little bit more money in that area, and maybe we release Samsung, but we shall see. I can't wait till Wednesday. Wednesday can't come any sooner when free agency officially starts. Hopefully this weekend, the next 24 to 48 hours, Jimmy G is off the team. We'll have a better idea of this team's salary cap. We got SG Sports Talk in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, SG. How is your Friday night going, man? Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight. Let's see. Joseph says, I'd rather have Von Miller than Chandler Jones. I think both of them would be an upgrade over who we have now, Samson and D Ford. So, yeah, I would be okay with either one of those guys. I know Von Miller said he may return to the Denver Broncos, especially since, his former team now has Russell Wilson. So I can see why he'd be interested in coming back to the Denver Broncos. But I think either one of those guys, Von Miller, Chandler Jones, it's just going to come down to what will they garner on the open market. Because we know the 49ers, I mean, they've been known for not being really big spenders, especially in the secondary. I mean, I know we re-signed Jimmy Ward a few years ago. Years and years ago, we signed Nate Clements. He used to play with the Buffalo Bills. We signed him to a contract, but that didn't really work out. This team did make a trade for D Ford. We did sign Quan Alexander. So we have spent money, but we just really haven't done it in the secondary. But if this team is going to spend any money in free agency on the defensive side of the ball, I would assume it's got to be edge rusher. I would think it's got to be edge rusher, because that's what this team values. This team values the defensive line. Yeah, I would be open, SG, to a DJ Reed reunion, but we'll see. It all depends on what he's going to make in the open market, and I don't see the 49ers being big spenders in free agency. We got to talk about the latest NFL news that came out this week, or I should say, I think it came out today. Yeah, it came out today. What am I talking about this week? It came out today. And it's about Deshawn Watson. So Deshawn Watson, we know, Google his name if you don't know about Deshaun Watson. I'm sure everyone here already knows about Deshaun Watson and his trials and tribulations, and he missed the entire season, but he will not face any criminal charges. Now, I believe that, a few of his accusers will be filing civil lawsuits, but it seems like Deshaun Watson will not be going to jail because he will not face any criminal charges. So that's great news on the Deshaun Watson front, because I know there is definitely a lot of gray area. Who knows what's going to happen? He still could get suspended by the NFL. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But since Deshaun Watson is available for trade, what does this do to Jimmy G's trade value? I don't think it affects it that much, honestly. Deshaun Watson, only one team can trade for Deshaun Watson, and there are still at least 3 to 5 teams that still need a quarterback. So Denver, we know, hey, they got Russell Wilson. They don't need a quarterback. Washington picked up, or they traded for Carson Wentz. They don't need a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is back with the Green Bay Packers. So clearly they don't need a starting quarterback. But I still think there's, Pittsburgh Steelers. They still need a starting quarterback. New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers. Those are a few teams at the top of my head that I think that could use an upgrade at the quarterback position. And I think one of those three teams could still trade for Jimmy G. And rumor has it that the 49ers were offered a second-round pick for Jimmy. This was just a rumor online. Who knows if that's accurate, but I don't understand why the Niners haven't traded for him, especially since I think the Niners don't really have that much leverage in trading Jimmy. Am I wrong, Faithful? I mean, Jimmy G's just coming off of shoulder surgery, and some people are saying, oh, Jimmy G is trying to screw over the Niners, or at least he's trying to have more leverage in where he wants to go. Maybe a team won't trade for him now because he's getting the shoulder surgery so late in the offseason. But I thought, or at least I had heard, that Jimmy G wanted to rehab to try to avoid surgery. And it just so happens that, hey, the rehab wasn't working out, and now he's opting for surgery. Maybe I'm being naive. But that's the vantage point I look at that situation. But it still seems that teams are still interested in Jimmy G. And at this point, I mean, take what you can get. I mean, the worst case scenario for the 49ers is a team doesn't trade for Jimmy G, and I believe we cut him, and I think we would owe him $7.5 million in the injury settlement. That's if Jimmy G can't pass a physical. So that would be your worst case scenario, because right now, if we trade for Jimmy G, there's obviously we don't have to pay him that $25 million salary that he's owed next year. So that would be the best case scenario, but hopefully that happens sooner than later. And just take what you can get. I mean, the guy's got a shoulder injury on his throwing shoulder. Of course, the doctors say the surgery went well, but man, if I was a team trading for Jimmy, I would be lying if I said that didn't concern me. But hopefully the 49ers take the best offer they can get and, ship Jimmy off to his new team. David says, Samsung came on late in the season. I would like to extend him to get cap savings. Okay, well, that's another idea. My idea was to just cut him. We save about $5 million in salary. But you are right. He did play much better in the back half of the season, and I'm sure the 49ers are encouraged by that. But yeah, maybe if they extend him another year, maybe spread out that cap hit between the next 2 years, that would be a good idea, David. Absolutely. Joseph says, the only good news I want to hear is when Jimmy G gets traded for a gallon of gas. That's pretty good. I know America right now is hurting because of the gas prices. Well, here in the Bay Area, I don't think there's any gas station in the Bay Area that's under $6 a gallon. So we're definitely hurting out here. And I'm sure other places in California are much more expensive. But man, yeah, this gas price ain't no joke. Ain't no joke. David says, I like Ibuka. He will come on this season. Okay, so we got David, got the both Davids. Both Davids are in favor of Samson returning back to the 49ers. I respect it. I think he either gets extended or the 49ers cut him. He's got a $6.5 million cap hit this year. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers do one of those two things. Let's see. David says, bring back Maserati. He will be cheap. Hey, I feel you. Definitely agree with you on that. Bring back Mostert. You have Trey Lance. You have Mostert. You have Elijah Mitchell in the backfield together. I think that would be a great 1-2 combination. We know Mostert just has that. He has that next level gear that most players can't get on the football field. Very few. And Mostert is a difference maker. And now I'm sure he'll be enticed by the Miami Dolphins to sign with them. I'm sure they can offer Mostert more money. They have definitely more money to spend in the free agency, but hopefully Mostert comes back. David says, with the current price of gas, I doubt we would get a whole gallon, maybe 1 quart. That's pretty good. Joseph liked that. We got Jerome Davis in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream, JD. He says offensive line for sure. Jerome Davis also says get a pass rusher out the draft. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the 49ers as far as the draft needs. It's kind of hard to pinpoint where they'll go in the draft because we don't know who they're going to sign in free agency. But if I had to guess, I mean, why not get another offensive lineman, edge rusher, corner, safety, maybe wide receiver? Right now, we only have 2 wide receivers under contract. That's the show. And then also Deebo Samuel. I saw something online about Juwan Jennings, but I don't think that's been confirmed yet. I think Juwan Jennings is a restricted free agent. I do expect him back with the Niners, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. But yeah, right now we've only got 2 wide receivers signed. So I would imagine we're going to definitely add a wide receiver, maybe in free agency, maybe in the draft. I would love to have a Cordarrelle Patterson. I think he could run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can alleviate some of that duty from Deebo because I don't want Deebo to be running the ball as much as he did last year. We know that we needed every yard from Deebo, but it'd be nice if we could add in a Cordarrelle Patterson. He has opportunity to play with a young quarterback in Trey Lance, compete for a long playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl. So, man, I would love to have Cordarrelle Patterson. Let's see. Jerome Davis, devil's advocate. He says, funny, Jimmy G. I think you're talking about Jimmy G's shoulder. You said, funny, it came out when he wanted to leave. Yeah, I mean, definitely terrible timing. Jimmy G could have waited so that way he could get more money out of the 49ers and he could come back when he's healthy and kind of choose his own team. I believe John Lynch when he says John Lynch and Jimmy G, they are in touch. They are talking about, where Jimmy G would like to be traded. I don't think, Lynch necessarily owes that to Jimmy, but, he's doing that. And I think, Pittsburgh's a possibility, Carolina, New Orleans. So there are plenty of possibilities for Jimmy G to get traded. We'll see where he goes, but hopefully it happens sooner than later. Looks like Jerome says Jimmy is going to the Steelers. Hey, why not? I'll be open to that. Definitely will be open to that. Joseph says Jimmy G no trade clause is still in effect until the 16th. What I also heard is Jimmy's agent is working out a trade and sign is in play where they're figuring out an extension for the team he goes to. That makes sense because Jimmy, I mean, for a team to trade for Jimmy, they're not just going to want to keep him for 1 year. Obviously, he's got a high salary cap number next year. And that team would want to keep Jimmy at least 2 to 3 years on a contract extension. That would lower his cap number for at least this year. And they want stability at that position. They don't want a 1 year rental if they're trading multiple picks or at least a second round pick for a player. They're going to try to keep that player under their control for years to come. That could be an option as well, that the Niners are waiting until Jimmy G's no trade clause is no longer in effect. And obviously the 16th is Wednesday, the start of free agency. Hopefully, John Lynch and the Niners can get a deal done with Jimmy and his representation, sooner than later. Joseph says Jennings got signed back, bro. I didn't hear. I mean, I saw it on social media. But if you look at, you just type in Deshawn Jennings, or if you type in, 49ers latest news, I don't think it was confirmed with Jennings. I know he will be back most likely. Or if you look up, or if you Google, Deshawn Jennings contract, it still says he's a free agent. It still says he hasn't signed a contract yet. So I'm going to double check that right now. But if I look on Spot Track, let's see. Yeah, so on Spot Track, he's still a free agent. So he hasn't been signed yet. But I've seen it all over social media. But here, I'll show you on, I'll share my screen. So on Spot Track, this is Deshawn Jennings' contract, right? This is Deshawn Jennings. So in 2022, it still says he's a ERFA. So he is still, he hasn't been signed yet to a new contract. So he's still, but if we look up, let's say we look up Nate Sudfeld, right? Nate Sudfeld signed his deal. Let's see. So Nate Sudfeld, he signed his 1 year contract with the Niners. And you see, Nate Sudfeld, 2022, $2 million base salary. Dead cap is $2 million. So, Nate Sudfeld was signed. But it hasn't been confirmed yet with Deshawn Jennings. Not yet. But I anticipate it's going to happen sooner than later, though. That's for sure. But it's not really official yet with Jennings. We got Ironic CMD in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, let's go Niners, and we need Bobby and JC. It would be nice, but I don't think that will come to fruition. Linebackers just not a position of need right now for the 49ers. Cornerback, yeah, I would definitely welcome it, but I don't think they'll spend top dollar for a corner. I'd be surprised, but yeah, I mean, I saw it all over IG, Twitter, everywhere, but not official yet for Deshawn Jennings. But yeah, I anticipate it's going to happen sooner than later, though. That's for sure. So let's see. Just wanted to come on tonight, talk about the latest 49ers news. Of course, talk about Jimmy G. Talk about the latest 49er signings. I mean, this is an exciting time, at least for me. We're signing, new players. And I'm sure we will continue that through the weekend. And also, the start of free agency is the 16th. That's when these deals actually become official. But, man, I appreciate coming on with everyone tonight. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shout out to everyone watching intheBay Facebook, intheBay YouTube, and also intheBay on Twitter. And I will be having a live stream. I believe it's on Monday night with 49ers First Takes. We're going to talk about, free agency. Where do we think the Niners will spend their money? And yeah, man, I am excited to continue to bring you guys more content, more 49ers content. Let's see. Corey Davis, hot diggity dog. What's good? What's good, KD? How you doing tonight, man? Thanks for tuning in to the stream on a Friday night. KD says, hello, Jay and the Bay. Do you think Deshawn Watson will hurt Jimmy G trade value? That's a great question. I don't think so. I know the latest news came out today about Deshaun Watson that he will not face any criminal charges, but Deshaun Watson is just one player, and I think there's at least 3 to 5 teams that still want to upgrade their quarterback. And I think Pittsburgh is still out there, New Orleans is still out there, Carolina. So there's still a few more teams who I think would still be interested in Jimmy G. But it's great for Deshaun Watson and his camp that he's not going to get any criminal charges. But yeah, I don't think it will hurt Jimmy's trade value. I don't think so. But I appreciate the question, KD. Ironic says, I think we should trade Mosley and keep Jimmy. And also by trading Mosley, cap space for Bobby and JC. I appreciate your comments. Ironic, but the Niners, they don't value the secondary. We've seen it since Lynch has been here. They've never drafted a corner in the first round. They've drafted defensive linemen in the first round. What was it? Solomon Thomas, Bosa. I think one year. I think they drafted McGlinchey 1 year. So this team is always Javon Kinlaw, Armstead, Buckner. That was before Lynch, but this team really puts an emphasis on getting pressure versus the quarterback. And this team feels that if you can get pressure on the quarterback, then the secondary doesn't really have to be elite. And Bobby Wags, yeah, it would be great to get Bobby Wagner. I just don't think he's a necessity. We've got Dre Greenlaw, we've got Aziz, we got Flanagan Fowles. So I just don't think Bobby Wagner. It would be cool to get him. The team would definitely benefit from having Bobby Wagner, but he ain't gonna come cheap. And I just don't see the Niners spending money on the linebacking room. We already got a stud middle linebacker in Fred Warner. We already broke the bank for him. So I just don't think we'll do that again for Bobby Wags. Now, if Bobby Wagner took a vet minimum deal or a $2 or $3 million deal, hey, why not? But I don't think he's going to do that. He's coming off. He had 170 tackles last year. Of course, he would love to play for a contender, but I don't think he'll take that big of a discount. Stephen James, what's good? That's a great question. Stephen, or is it Stefan? He says, do you think Seahawks have a chance to get Wilson? Well, they do. They have a ton of draft picks that they just traded for in getting rid of Russell Wilson. So they do have the draft capital to go after Deshaun Watson. Wouldn't that be a crazy come up? You trade you trade your best quarterback ever in your franchise history, and then you go out and get Deshaun Watson. That would be crazy, right? That would be amazing if that happened, but it'd be amazing and terrible too, because then we'd have to play Deshaun Watson 2 times a year. So we'll see though. They definitely can do it, but it seems like the Seahawks are rebuilding right now. So and I think that was part of the friction between Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was all about having a great defense, a strong running game, and the quarterback just pitching in a little bit. But Russell Wilson doesn't want to play football like that. And let's be real, the Seahawks really haven't had a great defense since the Legion of Boom. And they rarely can run the ball. I know they got Chris Carson. He's a pretty good running back. He gets dinged up a lot. So Pete Carroll's philosophy, the Seahawks can't really execute that philosophy. And that's part of the reason why Russell Wilson wanted out. And that's why he's with the Denver Broncos now. So they do have a chance. It'll be interesting to see, if we can get, or if the Seahawks get Watson. Corey Davis, how do you feel about the Russell Wilson trade? Overjoyed, KD. I was elated, KD. How do you feel about the Russell Wilson trade, man? I mean, I was thrilled. It was the best news of the week. I had mentioned earlier that Russell Wilson has won 17 out of 21 games versus the 49ers, and one of those games includes a playoff game. So, man, to say he had our number is an understatement. He's he's been beating us ever since he was drafted by the Seahawks. He wasn't even supposed to start his rookie year, but he did. But man, I respect the man, the player. He's a Hall of Fame talent, first ballot. But yeah, I'm definitely glad we're not going to be playing him twice a year. That's for sure. Ironic says, didn't we have the 5th best defense this year? In overall statistics, yeah, I would think so. We were pretty much top 10 in a lot of the main categories, like total yards allowed, passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, points allowed. We were in top 10 in a lot of those categories. So we had a great defense, I think, especially for how banged up the corners were. I mean, for what, almost half the season, Josh Norman was starting at corner. Demo Lenore was starting at corner, a rookie. Ambry Thomas started at corner, a rookie as well later on in the season. So D'Amico Ryans, hats off to D'Amico. Unfortunately, he'll be back with the team this year, but he coached very, very well. He's on his way to getting a head coaching job probably next year. And I don't see why this defense should take a step back next year. I think we should continue to get better on the defensive side of the ball. Tommy, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Tommy. He says the Seahawks are going 0-17. We'll see. I mean, it seems like their team is rebuilding, but that would be crazy if they traded for Deshawn Watson, man. That would be insane for every team in the NFC West and in the NFL, man, because we know what Deshaun Watson can do, when he's under center. Let's see. Steven says, are we all in on Trey Lance, or is the door open for Brady? Man, great question. I think the only way Brady comes here, I think, is if Brady and Shanahan can work well together. But it doesn't seem like they can. It seems like there is friction there already. Kyle Shanahan, he's got a huge ego, right? But I think we're all in on Trey Lance. That's what I hope it is. That's all indications from Lynch and Shanahan so far this offseason. I think that's how it should be. Can Trey Lance learn from TB12? Yes. Would TB12 make this team better than Trey Lance? Yes. Especially based off of Tom Brady's season last year. I think he had 45 touchdowns with 13 or less interceptions. Like, he still can play really well, but I want to see Trey Lance. I want to see, there's a reason why we traded up 9 spots in last year's draft to pick him, and I want to see what Trey Lance has. We got a sneak peek. We had a sneak preview in the preseason and in 2 games this year. But I want to see more. I want to see him start under center. But if the Niners, trade for TB12, I mean, I can't really be that mad. We will be better, but I would be a little disappointed because we can't see Trey, but there's no doubt TB12 would make this team better. Job, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Job. How is your Friday night going? Job says, how are you? I'm doing pretty well. The Colts aren't doing well right now. LOL. Hope the Niners are doing good. Yeah. Hey, Job. So for those that don't know, Job is an Indianapolis Colts fan. Job, what are your thoughts on Jimmy G? Obviously the Colts got rid of Carson Wentz. They traded him to Washington. And there are rumors circulating that the Indianapolis Colts would be interested in Jimmy G. So are Colts fans interested in acquiring Jimmy G? I would love to hear your thoughts on that, Job, because I think the Colts are rumored to be a team, the Steelers, the Saints, the Panthers. So there's still a few teams who would be interested in Jimmy G's services. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, Joe. Are the Colts fans interested in Jimmy G? And I appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button and also make sure you subscribe to Jay and the Bay if you haven't already. Let's see. Job says, my thoughts are that Jimmy G has the leadership that the Colts want, but not the arm that the Colts want. Yeah, and that's been the the issue I hear with Carson Wentz is that he has all the intangibles, he has all the athletic ability, but he's just not a good leader. And the guys in the locker room don't really like him. So he wasn't really liked in Philly. He wasn't liked in Indy. So the one common denominator is Carson Wentz. So maybe he has to do some soul searching. But I think, hey, Jimmy G, the Colts have a pretty good defense. They got a strong running game, good offensive line. They have weapons. Hey, Jimmy G could thrive in that situation with the Colts. It'd be interesting to see what the Colts could do with Jimmy G. It'd be very, very interesting. But I hope everyone has a great rest of your Friday night and a great rest of your weekend. Hopefully we get some news about Jimmy G this offseason. Hopefully we get some news about Jimmy G this weekend and a trade. That's what I'm hoping for, because free agency is right around the corner. Job says the thing is Jimmy G is a winner and he finds ways to win games, so why not? And we have a running back. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't ask Jimmy G to throw 40 to 50 times a game. You got Jonathan Taylor. He's going to run the rock at least, 25 to 30 times a game. Jimmy G works well off play action, and I think he could be a solid fit with them good old Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, that's what people have been saying. Wentz is not bad. He's just not a good leader. So that's what I've been hearing. But huge shout out to KD. Appreciate that super chat. Shout out to everyone who was in the chat tonight. And have a great, safe rest of your night and weekend. Go Niners. Hopefully we hear some great news this weekend about Jimmy G and trading him to a team. That's what I'll be looking forward to this weekend. I will have a stream Monday night with 49ers First Takes on my channel. And, man, everyone have a great rest of your night. Good night to you as well, Joe. Let's see. Jerome says Brady comes in and wins us the ring, then somebody finds the cameras. Nah, bring on Trey. Hey, man. It's up to Shanahan. I would love to see Trey, but you can't deny Tom Brady. I mean, you can't deny the most successful quarterback in the NFL. We got J.R. Meadows in the building. What's good? JR says no one wants a quarterback that can't throw deep. Jimmy can throw deep. Shanahan just doesn't want him to throw deep. He's shown that he can throw deep. He's not the best, but I think Jimmy can throw deep. But there are several teams vying for Jimmy G's services. You know it, JR. Zephon says, do you think they will Debo? Let's see. Do you think they will Debo in 22 like last season, worry about himself? Well, hopefully the Niners will get Cordarrelle Patterson. He could run the ball. And I don't think the 49ers should use Debo how they used him last year. I just don't think it worked and we needed it, but, maybe save that for the playoffs or for the back end of the season. Debo, he's just going to get hurt. I mean, he's not a running back. Yeah, he played running back really well, but we're paying him like a wide receiver. Hopefully Trey Lance can have more success in utilizing Debo Samuel's skills as a receiver. And Trey Sermon, hopefully he plays a much bigger role in this offense, next year with Elijah Mitchell. And I won't be surprised if we bring in a veteran running back on a 1-year deal, and we also draft a running back. So hopefully we won't need Debo to play the running back position many snaps. JR says he's injury prone now. You talking about Jimmy G? Well, hey, man, teams are still interested in Jimmy G, JR. Trust me. Tommy says, nah, Wentz couldn't even nest the faders. He says, or the Jags. Yeah, that was very, very disappointing that the Colts did not get into the playoffs. Jerome says you have to have a line to throw deep. That is true, but you also have to anticipate throws as well. You can't wait till the receivers open in the NFL. If you do that, usually that time that you wait until the receivers open, that gives enough time to the corner to make a play on the ball. You got to anticipate your throws, throw before the wide receiver makes their cut. JR says that's why the Ayuk show was in Shanny's doghouse. Yeah, those were the rumors that Ayuk, he wasn't feeling Jimmy G. But But man, Trey Lance and Ayuk and the rest of the receivers, they have great rapport. And I can't wait to see that, week one. Hopefully we see a much more down the field throwing offense. Tommy says Jimmy can throw deep. He just doesn't. I would agree with that. Shanahan doesn't really want him to throw. JR says, because he's supposed to be like D. Smith and Chase, period. No, I agree. Yeah, he's definitely on that level. He just needs a quarterback who can get him the ball. There's no doubt. Who can cover Cooper Kupp? Man, he was the best wide receiver last year. No one could cover him. I don't know why teams did not double him. Don't get it. Especially when OBJ got hurt in the Super Bowl. I mean, there wasn't really another Rams player stepping up. But, man, there's no doubt Cooper Kupp, hell of a season. He was the best wide receiver last year, that's for sure. So, but, yeah, man, hopefully Trey Lance will he will start this season. And those TB12 rumors will be put to rest. And I'm looking forward. I can't wait till the start of the season. But everyone have a great rest of your night. Thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Huge shout out to new people we had in the chat today. Hopefully you'll come back for the next stream. And everyone have a great rest of your weekend. Go Niners. Hopefully we get some great news about Jimmy G this weekend. So, and I agree with you, Tommy. No one can cover Kiddo. We just got to be able to get Kiddo the ball. That's all we got to do. David says Ayuk was open deep a lot this past season while Jimmy was looking left. He was looking left. He was looking right and throwing a check down. Exactly. Exactly. I don't think Jimmy and Ayuk really had that rapport. I don't think they had that rapport. But hopefully with Trey Lance, things will be different. And I can't wait. Y'all have a good rest of your night, man. Go Niners. Thanks for tuning in.